Welcome to the It's Time podcast with your host, Professor Dale Feinauer, from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh College of Business Graduate Programs.
Questions?
Yeah. The Amcor guy. I'm sorry, I don't remember all your names, you guys. So.
I think all of us can relate that like all of our companies are having a lot of new people start. Yeah. Like in our facility, we have new people starting every week. How do you help a new employee understand the culture of the organization?
Well, that's a great question. So culture is pretty hard to define it, right? And the way I've always defined it is, culture is, what do you say? What don't you say? What do you do? What don't you do? Have these guys met Brian Brandt?
No, they've not met Brian Brandt.
Okay.
And I haven't required them to watch his podcast.
And Brian's a guy that actually worked for me at Oshkosh Corp. He's at Oshkosh, but he was at Bemis forever. And Brian's always defined culture as what you say, what you don't say, what do you do, what don't you do, not what's on the wall, not what's in the corporate book, not the plaques. I got culture stories to tell you. But I actually simplified even more, the behavior you tolerate is your culture. It's as simple as that. If everybody comes to work late, that's your culture. If everyone's a hero and doesn't try to make the organization better, that's your culture. If people are unethical, that's your culture. If you tolerate X, Y, and Z, that's your culture. I did not get this when I was at your stage in your careers. I don't even think we talked about culture back then. It was yeah, sure. So I think it's pointing out the actions around you versus trying to explain the culture. I don't know how to do it. I mean, when I was at Bemis, we had a debate. Do we want a high performance culture, which was largely a little bit around fear to perform, or should we create a culture of inspiring success? They're very different approaches. And you're in a big, at that time, $5 billion public company. Now it's whatever is Amcor, 10 billion, 13 billion. Oh my God, how do you possibly know what's going on? So you have all these internal cultural struggles. And I think, so I would just explain it. If you watch the behavior of the company, that's the culture. If you watch what the company tolerates, that's the culture. Doesn't matter what they say. Has nothing to do with what the CEO proclaims. If you tolerate it, that's your culture. So I would, instead of trying to explain the culture, I would pick out behavior. Hey, look what Amcor just put into that innovation center in Neenah. They just added a huge addition on so they could do prototype equipment there. Look what Amcor is doing in sustainability. So, the culture of the company is defined by its activities and what it tolerates, instead of trying to explain it. I don't know if that answers it, but that's a slippery question. Has someone actually asked you that?
No, I had just watched Brian's on the way. So
yeah. He's like the guru of it all, right?
I would note that I spent today, interestingly, at Bergstrom Automotive, going through their new employee orientation program. Not that I'm planning to go to work for Bergstrom and quit the university, but Tim Bergstrom is one of the folks we had interviewed, and he gave me the opportunity to sit through that. And it was fascinating, as Jim is saying, it's what you tolerate and what you don't. And you got to prove it. You can't just say it. But he was very clear. Look, if you can't treat people with dignity and respect as a function of race or gender or sexual orientation, I'm not judging you for that, but I want you to leave. It's a family-owned business, and I want you to leave. And we are going to provide outstanding customer service, relationships that feel like family. If you can do that, you can get forward in this organization. You can make mistakes, that's fine. If you slip on the customer service, that's much more problematic. So he in his part of the day was laying out from his perspective, here's what we tolerate, here's what we don't tolerate. And then you got to live it.
How many of you have shopped at a Festival Foods, pretty much everybody, if you live around here, is it everybody been there? You know what it is? If you go in a festival, the floor is laid out in 1 foot squares. Okay? It's a grocery store, for those who know, it's a large grocery store chain in the Midwest here, kind of taking over the middle market. And the floor of the store is laid out in 1 foot increments. If a guest, which they call them, customer walks in and you're an employee, if that guest gets within 10 squares of you, you must engage. Hi, how's your day? You finding everything? Everything cool? You know, can I help you with anything? If you get within 10 squares, you have to engage. So their culture is simply that. It's as simple as, it's not any harder than that. In my days at Bemis, and I worked for the guys that invented the company, they viewed the company as a material science company, not a packaging business. Even, got bugs in your deal. Even though
Oh, you were referring to Fly. I thought you were talking to students.
So the culture of the company, if you looked at the annual report, when they used to print annual reports, on the cover was beakers and piles of resin and little various lab equipment. That was the cover of the annual report. Even though all the customers were Kraft and Heinz and big consumer packaging, KC, consumer package companies. But their point was, we sell packaging because that's a way for us to unleash material science. We are a material science company that happens to sell packaging. The culture of the business, all about innovation. Everybody I worked with was chemical engineers except for me. Everybody. I mean, every company president, all the guys, everybody was a chemie except for me. So the culture of the company was, we didn't really have to say it. It was so evident that the innovation in material science was what we viewed as our differentiator, even though 99% of the employees would say you're a packaging company. So the culture wasn't stated that, it was just, that's what we did. And so it's a hard question to unpack, but it's a good question.
And now, a few words about some of the programs and services offered by the UW-Oshkosh College of Business.
The future of business is data-driven. Employers in every sector need people who can analyze large amounts of data, think critically to understand its impacts, and work with teams to convert insights into actions. The University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh College of Business offers a graduate-level data analytics certificate to provide the most current and applicable skills in this area of high demand. In just 9 months, you will learn about the most important strategies, tactics, and methods of analyzing data, and put yourself in a position to advance your career. The Data Analytics Certificate can also serve as a starting point into the MBA Professional Program. Learn about the curriculum, program start dates, tuition, and more by visiting uwo.sh/data analytics. That's uwo.sh/DATAANALYTICS.
Other questions? What else you got?
Right, I have one for you. What, I guess, were/are some of your daily routines? Every morning you get up, this time, work out, a lot of these.
Now or back then? Now it's way different than it was then.
I guess you could reflect on both. I mean, you're obviously still a leader in the means and methods today. We're different in your past role, but.
Well, that's a good. I hadn't heard this one yet.
No.
So today, I just had this chat with my son, who's what would his job be? He's the digital e-com manager for Travis Matthews, which is a division of Callaway Golf. And he's doing his job largely remotely, but he's out in California a week or two a month. And we were just having this chat about this. And, he's bitching about this and this and that. And I got to remind him that, who people follow? Positive people. I don't care how much you know. If you're positive, people follow you. So what I try to do, Josh, right, is, and I've told this story a million times, but, you can as I said earlier, you can wake up on Monday, hoping it's Friday, and string a bunch of those together, and then wake up when you're 53 and go, what just happened? Or you can wake up on Monday and literally make it the most magnificent day of your life. It doesn't always work that way. You know, the hurricane just wiped out my retirement home. I mean, not every day works that way, Judge. But what I try to do, not always, I try to wake up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What can I do today? And this is going to sound a little corny, you guys, but you know, as you get older, your life purpose gets a little bit clearer. When you're your age, it's like, I need more money. I need this. I want a bigger. I want this. I want. That's sort of what happens is eventually though, your purpose has nothing to do with any of that. And mine, which I've shared many times, including that previous podcast, is, you know, what can I do every single day to make a positive difference in someone's life or help them find some level of happiness professionally or personally that they couldn't get to if I wasn't in their life. Now that sounds a little like I'm like some sort of religious guy, and I'm not. But I have just found it so much fun to wake up on Monday and try to make that the best day. Try to make a meaningful difference in the lives of the people you're around. That just fuels you. That's just pure energy. That's what I try to do now. During my working days, I have to say that is a lot harder to do, especially that last job I had. When you got 10,000 people reporting to you, it's just, you know, living through the day often. But, you know, I think it was keeping the organization clear, keeping the organization aligned. If I didn't do those two, execution became luck. So what I would do in my daily job, my weekly, monthly role as a leader, create clarity every single day, create alignment. You know, does everyone know what they're supposed to do? Are they aligned? Most of us want to jump right to the third step. Go do that, go do this, sell that, cut that cost, raise that price, go. And I think the third step gets too much attention. If you don't do the first two, the third one becomes luck. And that's what I'm watching every day go, you know, pick a company. Everybody's jumping to step 3 without doing the other 2. That's what I tried to do. That's what you're supposed to do as a leader. Hard to do, but you do that whether you're on the Catholic school board, the Theta Care board, the playground committee in your subdevelopment, the kids soccer team. I have found that kind of works everywhere because everyone wants to jump to step 3 and all the energy is back in steps 1 and 2. That's where the success will come from. So once again, there's a lot of ways to break this down. I could get in all the details, but I don't think that's really relevant. Because in the big picture here, I think everyone's under so much tension that the Hail Marys come out every single day, and everyone's trying to, break out of this, sort of difficult marketplace we're in by let's try this, let's try that, let's do this, let's build that, and you spend so much energy, you don't actually get anything done. So, in fact, in our strategy class, that's essentially 6 weeks on that equation. 6 weeks. I'm giving to you in 45 seconds. How do you create clarity for an organization, for a church, for your family? How do you create alignment? And then execution becomes way easier. So that's there. Now they got the strategy credit, so you don't even need to take the class.
In terms of what you do, the other thing I've observed that good leaders who have any kind of sustainability do is they take care of themselves. They find a way to work into the routine some selfish time, if you will, whether that's they go and read, whether that's they go to the gym and work out. But if you don't take care of yourself, if you're not able to be present every day, if you can't walk in with that positive attitude, it's not going to happen. So whatever you got to do to be able to get up on Monday and go, I'm quoting Pooh here, Monday, one of my 7 favorite days of the week. And if you can't do that on Monday, you got to take a deep breath and say, okay, why can't I? Why am I not loving Mondays? And if that means you got to be working out so you get more energy, if that means you got to reorganize your life and say, I'm way too stressed on these details. And I got to find a way not to be so doggone stressed. Whatever you got to do, you got to be positive walking in on Monday, not dreading the fact that you got to put 5 of them together.
And who the hell wants to hang around with people like that? I mean, I'm too old for that. I don't hang around with people like that.
And now, a few words about some of the programs and services offered by the UW-Oshkosh College of Business.
The University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh MBA Executive Program offers an array of scholarships supporting veterans, single parents, road warriors or those commuting more than 75 miles to attend class, employees of government and nonprofit organizations, and for those who make referrals for potential MBA executive students within their workplace or professional network. Eligible students may qualify for multiple scholarships. Visit uwo.sh/MBA scholarships for more information and eligibility requirements. That's uwo.sh/MBA SCHOLARSHIPS.
But let's talk about stress just for 1 second. When I was doing that restaurant thing, I would come home at night. I was living with my parents, obviously, and I would come home and I'd just barf out everything that went on that day to my dad. Well, I got to hire 3 more waitresses, and I don't know how to calculate the food costs, and I got to schedule all these, min-max stuff. And he goes, well, how many waitresses do you need to hire? 3. Okay. What's your overtime level? We don't have any. Okay. How are you going to manage food, your order? Well, I built this little economic order quantity thing, Dad, because every Friday we sell. He goes, all right, you got that figured out? He goes, what is it you don't know what to do? I go, well, I'm nothing. He goes, you have no stress. Stress, Jim. This is my dad talking 40 years ago. And I'm trying to just get out of the room, right? He's going, stress is when you don't know what to do, not too much to do. And if you can separate those two, your stress went from 100 down to 10. And I have used that lesson. I have told everybody that's ever been wanting to listen, when you think about all this crap coming at you every day, too much to do is just managing priorities, clarity, alignment, execute. Or 80% of the stuff on your to-do list, if you don't do it, will have no difference. Get rid of it. What I have found is people walk in my office with their to-do list, and I go, all right, if you did every one of those 7 things perfect, the company won't know you did them because they don't matter. So don't do them. Yeah, but no, just don't do them. So now you're down to 3. And what don't you know how to do? Well, I know how to do that. Where's your stress? Well, it's now gone. And so one of the things I always try to do is we're all wrapped around the axle right now. Part of it is all this communication tools and sitting on TikTok till 3 a.m. and all this crap coming at you. And so that creates a lot of other noise that you don't need. But if you can separate your to-dos from what you really don't know what to do, your mother has breast cancer. This hurricane hit and wiped out $60 billion of the property. Okay, that's all my friends are sitting in their place. No power, no water, no food, nothing. They're trapped in the 25-story building with no elevators. That's kind of stressful, right? Because we don't know what to do. How the hell are we going to get that fixed? Okay, versus everything else, which is relatively planning and prioritizing. So that's the kind of stuff I tried to do. And I wish, in retrospect, I wished I had worked more on the business than in it. Okay, so we're all sucked into the daily demand of wherever we work, whatever we got to do. And maybe your careers aren't at that stage yet, but I wished I had spent more time, easy to see it now. I wish I'd just, maybe a notch or 2 more on the business versus in it. Because especially in a public company, you get paid to deliver the quarter. That's it. That's it. There is no item 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're pretty wound around that. But the quarter is an output of a lot of things that you did right or wrong. So those are some of the things I thought about, Anna. The other thing I've done with my family, again, we're all stressed out. is, have you done the grateful exercise? Did you ever hear about this? Some of you have. It's called different things. It's from a Harvard Business School. It's actually a Harvard a faculty member who teaches a class there called Happiness. There's a class, can't make this up, at Harvard called Happiness. And it's the highest sought class on the campus. And one of the elements of it is retraining your brain to be grateful. So you ask, what do you do on a daily basis? So you get up every day for 30 days and you list 3 things you're grateful for. The first day, my wife, my husband, my daughter, my friends. The second day, my health, my parents. The third day, my friends. You get to day 16, 17, 18, you're into the trees. I love the fact Rogers resigned. You know, all of a sudden, after 30 days of doing this, you've started to train your brain when you wake up in the morning to be positive. And so what do you do as a leader? Try to figure out a way to stay positive because you live in a shitstorm. That's all it is. The further you go in your career, every day, every time the phone rings, every person that walks in your office it's a negative exception. The further you go in your career, you manage the negative exception. That's all it is. So you have got to find a way to stay positive. And I just was having this chat with my own family. And they did it. And they sort of did it because I made them do it. And they did it for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then they quit because they thought it was, now they're older, right? They're not 18, 20 anymore. Now they're 30s. So suddenly I'm not quite as dumb as I used to be. Still on the low end of the IQ level. Long answer, but I just think try to find a way to lead with positivity, because it's the only thing you guys actually can control. You cannot control him, your wife, your husband, your job, you can't control any of it.
It's Time is a production of the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh College of Business Graduate Programs in association with Venture Project Studios. Executive producer, Aaron J. Armstrong. Host, Professor Dale Feinauer. Creative Director, Madison Potratz. Director of Photography, Elazar Kloon. Audio and Video Editor, Elazar Kloon. Marketing Strategy, Tara Larson. Social Media, Anwar Mahana. A special thanks to L Creative, Top View Media, Michael Patton, and the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh College of Business Graduate Programs.